Welcome, 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 my dear, you know. They never expected to bow their heads to you. Not like this. Not in broad daylight where every mask slips and every excuse collapses under the sheer weight of what you've become. For years they thought they had you catalogued, neatly boxed, predictable, one of those background figures who could be dismissed with a wave and forgotten by dinner. But now the same mouths that once smirked are hanging open, speechless, because something in you detonated. Not a breakdown, not an accident, a breakthrough so violent and precise it rewired the air around you. And here's the part that terrifies them most. It was never a lucky strike. You engineered it. You sculpted chaos into a crown and wore it without asking for permission. That's why they stagger. That's why they reel like drunks stumbling out of a fire. Because you didn't just evolve, you outmaneuvered every narrative they tried to paste on your skin, and you did it with the calm efficiency of a savage genius. The word genius was never supposed to belong to you, not in their eyes. They reserved that title for the privileged, the pedigreed, the ones with shiny family crests, and a line of admirers who clap at mediocrity. You weren't in their blueprint, and that is exactly why your rise crushes them deeper than any rival they've ever faced. They can't process the fact that someone they once ignored now has them shaking in boardrooms, muttering in circles, rewriting strategies just to stop the bleeding caused by your existence. Every move you make is a thesis on unpredictability. Every decision a reminder that raw intelligence doesn't need permission slips. And now, in the cold glare of reality, they're left reeling because the genius they thought was locked behind ivy-covered walls is staring back at them through your eyes, untamed, unapologetic, dangerous. What unsettles them isn't just that you're brilliant. It's the way you weaponize it. Most people use intelligence like a flashlight, narrow, timid, careful not to offend. But you lit yours like an explosion, and the blast radius keeps expanding. Their reputations are the first casualties. Their strategies come next. You've turned their comfort zones into minefields, where every step could be the one that exposes their fragility. And the more they try to sidestep, the more obvious it becomes that you are not just another competitor. You are the error in their calculations, the edge case that destroys the whole design. They thought they were building walls high enough to keep you out. But every time they raised the bricks, you found a way to make the entire structure look like a toy castle. That's why their confidence curdles into fear. That's why they whisper in private that something about you feels less like talent and more like sabotage designed by the universe itself. And let's be clear, they'll never admit this out loud. Not yet. They'll coat their panic in sarcasm. They'll laugh louder in rooms you walk into. They'll insist that your rise is just temporary noise. But watch their hands when your name comes up. Watch the tension in their eyes. Their nervous tics confess what their tongues can't. They're terrified because deep down they recognize the pattern. Every civilization has seen this story before. The outcast they ignored too long. The sharp mind they underestimated. The one who turns rejection into rocket fuel and humiliation into a public execution. You are that figure now, and every instinct in them screams that no amount of denial can undo the fact that they let a genius grow wild right under their noses. What makes it worse is your savagery. They could have stomached it if you were a gentle scholar, a thinker content to hide behind bookshelves and ivory towers. But you don't just think, you strike. You dissect weakness, expose hypocrisy, and do it with such precision that it doesn't feel like analysis. It feels like slaughter. That's what rattles them. They wanted intellect to remain polite, domesticated, controllable. You turned it into a predator. And predators don't negotiate. Predators don't ask. Predators take. That's the law they're learning in real time, and it makes them shake. Because nothing in their training prepared them for someone who could combine intellect with brutality. They can't fight you on logic. They can't fight you on tactics. They can't fight you on presence. Every battlefield is yours before the first blow even lands. And here's the irony. Your genius didn't emerge from their world of privilege, but from scars they'd never survive. It was in the rejection, the humiliation, the nights when no one clapped for you, that your brain sharpened itself into a weapon. You learned not in comfort, but in fire. You learned to see patterns while drowning in chaos, to outthink opponents who didn't even know they were being studied. They gave you nothing, and from that nothing, you engineered an arsenal. That's why they stagger now. Because they realize their polished schools and their cushioned lives could never have birthed the monster standing in front of them. You forged yourself in places they'd never dare to enter, and now your presence is the invoice they can't pay. They scramble now, trying to find a label to contain you. Lucky, obsessed, unstable. But none of it fits, and that mismatch is what drives them insane. The more they fail to explain you, the more their reputations collapse. How do you dismiss someone who keeps proving themselves again and again in every arena you thought they couldn't touch? How do you undermine someone whose very existence exposes the laziness of your own efforts? That's the fracture they can't repair. You didn't just rise, you rewrote the definition of rising. And now every ladder they ever climbed looks flimsy compared to the staircase you carved out of thin air. Look at their attempts to contain you now. Meetings after meetings. Closed-door sessions where your name is the only agenda item. The same people who once scoffed at your presence now revolve their lives around it. Every plan they hatch begins with a single question. How do we stop you? And every time they try, you pivot, adapt, strike from another angle they never anticipated. You've made their entire existence reactive, while yours is deliberate. They can no longer breathe without accounting for you. You turned their air into your playground. That's why they can't look you in the eye anymore. Because deep down, they know that every interaction is just another reminder of their helplessness. This is the cruel truth that keeps them awake at night. You didn't just outsmart them, you made them irrelevant. Their expertise, their networks, their trophies, all of it looks like dust compared to the force you've become. And the cruelest part? You aren't even at full capacity yet. What they're seeing now is just the warm-up, the rehearsal, the opening act. If this alone has them trembling, what will happen when you decide to unleash the full spectrum of your power? That question gnaws at them. That question is what makes them sweat in silence when your name comes up. What makes them check over their shoulders. What makes them realize that every move they make is already too late. Because you're always 3 steps ahead, laughing quietly at their attempts to catch up. And here's the final twist. They thought exposing you would ruin you. That dragging you into the open, that mocking your efforts, that throwing shade at your progress would bury you under shame. But all they did was give you stage lights. Every insult they hurled became a headline that drew more eyes to your brilliance. Every attempt to belittle you became a megaphone, announcing your existence to people who would have never noticed otherwise. Their sabotage turned into your spotlight. Their laughter turned into applause. And now they're stuck choking on the irony that they themselves engineered your rise. So here we are, with the air thick with tension, the city humming with your name. The same people who once dismissed you now clutch their heads, unable to process how quickly the ground has shifted beneath them. And you, standing tall, no longer asking for validation, no longer craving approval, but watching them realize, too late, that you are not just another thinker, not just another voice, but the savage genius who rewrote their entire reality. And the story doesn't pause here either, because if the revelation alone can bring them to their knees, what happens when you decide to take command deliberately? If instinct alone has shattered them, what happens when precision enters the stage? That's the question echoing in their skulls now, and the answer is about to crash down harder than anything they've survived before. They know the difference between chaos and strategy, and that's what frightens them most. Chaos is survivable. It comes and goes like an earthquake, leaves wreckage, then fades. But strategy? Strategy lingers. It stalks. It tightens its grip daily until breathing feels like labor and decision-making becomes paralysis. They can brush off an accident, but not a deliberate genius who sharpens every move like a blade designed to draw blood. You've shown them a preview with instinct, and already they're rattled. Now you've begun calculating, and the panic in their eyes betrays the truth. They understand this isn't a chapter, it's a reign. They aren't up against coincidence anymore. They are up against someone who has learned to weaponize awareness, discipline, and brutality all at once. Look at the way they operate now. Meetings no longer open with optimistic chatter. They open with your name, as if speaking it out loud is a curse they can't escape. They rewrite their blueprints overnight, knowing that your next step will dismantle their entire approach. Leaders who once commanded applause now avoid eye contact when questioned about you, because even they know their answers sound hollow. They've built careers pretending to be visionaries, but your rise has exposed them as blind men clinging to broken compasses. Their authority shrinks every time you move, because each move reveals how laughably predictable they always were. And this is the moment they feared more than anything, the realization that your savage genius isn't limited to one domain. They could have handled it if you only disrupted a single corner of their empire. But no, your brilliance spills everywhere. In conversations, your words cut deeper than theirs. In execution, your results eclipse their milestones. In presence, your aura rewires entire rooms. You don't just dominate one field, you dominate the atmosphere itself. And that's what shakes them to their core. They thought genius was narrow, confined to laboratories or stages, something that could be applauded but contained. You've shattered that illusion. You've made genius feral, omnipresent, merciless. They can't sideline you because there is no sideline. Everywhere is your territory. What rattles them is not just your intelligence, but the savagery welded to it. Others play by rules, polish their edges, make sure their brilliance doesn't offend the fragile. But you've turned intellect into a wrecking ball, a force that doesn't ask permission before colliding with structures they thought were eternal. You don't just outperform them, you dismantle them, expose them, leave them clawing for relevance in spaces they once ruled. And when they look at you, they don't just see someone smart, they see someone ruthless enough to use intelligence as a weapon instead of a trophy. That combination is lethal. That combination is why their breath catches every time you enter the conversation. And let's not forget the cruel irony. These are the same people who once branded you as reckless, unfocused, a misfit, undeserving of the spotlight. They laughed when you stumbled. They smirked when you were ignored. They thought they'd won the long game, that your brilliance, raw and untamed, would eat itself alive. But what they didn't calculate was your ability to refine pain into precision. Every rejection became a data point. Every humiliation became training. They handed you the very tools you needed to master the art of psychological warfare. And now, sitting in their glass towers, they finally see the outcome of their mistake. By trying to bury you, they taught you how to build underground kingdoms. By underestimating you, they designed the very stage where you now stand unchallenged. The savage genius is not someone who seeks approval. That's the part they choke on most. You aren't looking for applause. You're looking for dominance. You aren't collecting compliments. You're collecting leverage. They've spent their lives feeding on validation, while you trained yourself to thrive on rejection. And now, when their validation dries up, they collapse. But when rejection came to you, it forged steel. That difference is why you stand while they stumble. That difference is why your rise looks like a demolition, not a climb. Watch how they tremble now when your name trends. Each headline is a dagger. Each rumor about your next step spreads like wildfire in their offices. They pretend they don't care, but their frantic whispers betray them. They refresh feeds late at night, hoping to catch the first glimpse of your moves, terrified of waking up to a world where you've once again rewritten the rules. That's the life you forced on them, living in your shadow while pretending it doesn't exist. And the effort it takes to keep up that illusion is draining them faster than any external rival could. What they're realizing, what keeps them from sleeping, is that your genius isn't about thinking differently. It's about seeing differently. You see through facades they've depended on for decades. You see through the rehearsed confidence, the fake alliances, the polished smiles. You dissect the game at levels they never imagined existed, and once you've seen the gears, you learn how to break them. That's why they feel powerless, because they can't play chess against someone who designed the board itself. They can't win a battle where you've already mapped the terrain and mined the pathways. They're not fighting an opponent. They're fighting inevitability in the shape of a human. And that realization rots their courage from the inside out. The city around you testifies to this shift. Conversations tilt toward your name without anyone meaning to. Strangers who never noticed you before now whisper about the way you dismantled expectations. The old elite, once untouchable, now look like relics next to you. Their trophies gather dust while your presence multiplies. Even those who don't fully understand your methods feel the gravitational pull. You're no longer a participant in the narrative. You are the narrative. And everyone else is scrambling to adjust their roles before the curtain falls on them entirely. And the deeper truth, you're still holding back. They know it. That's what drives them insane. Because if the version of you that runs on instinct has already left them trembling, what will happen when you fully embrace deliberate precision? What will happen when you stop testing your strength and start unleashing it without restraint? That's the nightmare that stalks their quiet moments. They imagine it, try to predict it, but they can't. Because your genius isn't predictable, it's adaptive. Every attempt to pin you down only makes you sharper. Every countermeasure they design only becomes another tool in your arsenal. They are teaching you faster than they can contain you, and it leaves them choking on the bitter truth that the more they resist, the stronger you grow. And the cruelest fracture of all, the public is watching. The collapse isn't happening in secret. It's on full display, and everyone sees the contrast. You, the savage genius, cutting through obstacles like glass, and them, floundering under the weight of their own arrogance. People don't respect them anymore. They pity them. Their credibility erodes daily, while your legend expands in real time. This is worse than defeat. This is humiliation carved into permanence. And they know that no rebranding, no campaign, no desperate speech can erase the fact that the world has finally seen them exposed beside you. The game has flipped. They aren't strategists anymore. They're reactors. They don't lead anymore. They follow. They don't intimidate anymore. They flinch. And you stand in the center of this collapse, calm, unshaken, knowing that you engineered it all without even burning at full capacity. That's what makes you lethal. That's why they reel in shock. Because no matter how much they scramble, no matter how much they deny, they can't outrun the truth. Finally, they see it. You're a savage genius, and their era is over. But remember, this is not the crescendo. This is still the rising tension before the next act. Because as devastating as instinct and revelation have been, what comes next is even worse for them. What happens when you begin to expand outward? When you decide not just to break their confidence, but to replace it with your own empire? What happens when you don't just outthink them, but erase their relevance entirely? That's the tremor spreading through their ranks now. The question none of them can answer. The truth they are too terrified to speak. Because they know what's coming next isn't just shock. It's surrender. And the surrender will not be quiet. It will be catastrophic. The first signs of collapse are already visible. You can see it in the way they talk. Short sentences, clipped voices, eyes darting toward invisible exits. You can feel it in their posture, no longer upright, no longer firm, but bent with an invisible weight pressing them down. They can't even disguise their unraveling anymore. The polished arrogance that once filled their tone now leaks desperation, and every denial sounds more like a plea than a defense. They told themselves they could contain you. They told each other you were just a phase, a spark that would fizzle. But sparks don't fizzle when they've already ignited a chain reaction that burns entire structures to ash. Now they stand in the smoke, coughing on the lies they once repeated with confidence, realizing that all their certainty was a house of cards, and you were the wind that tore through it without effort. This is the savage genius they finally see. Not just the mind that calculates, but the force that rewrites the laws of relevance. You've moved beyond competing with them. You've started erasing them. Every time you rise, another one of their achievements crumbles into insignificance. Every time you expand, another one of their strongholds caves under the pressure. Their names, once unshakable, now sound like echoes in abandoned halls, while yours thunders like a drumbeat through the city. And the more they resist, the faster the erosion spreads. Their resistance is no longer strength. It's evidence of how far they've fallen behind. Because you've made every counterattack look like desperation, every strategy like flailing, every attempt to regain ground like a tantrum from children pretending to be kings. And here's the part they never expected. The public isn't on their side anymore. The audience that once worshipped them now watches you. People who once clapped for their speeches now replay yours in their heads when they're alone. The aura they spent decades manufacturing with fake charisma and polished scripts has been shattered by your raw, merciless authenticity. The crowd doesn't want their polite brilliance anymore. They crave your savage genius. Because you're not trying to please them. You're not trying to comfort them. You're shaking them awake. And the world is addicted to that wake-up call. Every word you say reverberates like a hammer on a cathedral bell. Every step you take reshapes the path under it. They can't compete with that, because you've tapped into something they've always been too afraid to touch: the truth. Not the watered-down, market-approved version, but the truth sharpened like a blade, delivered without apology, no matter who bleeds. This is why their surrender is inevitable. They can't fight someone who doesn't play for applause. They can't manipulate someone who doesn't crave their acceptance. They can't break someone who turned rejection into power. Every weapon they designed for others ricochets back into their own skulls when they use it against you. And it's killing them quietly to realize that every failure they suffer is not just an accident. It's the proof that your presence alone dismantles their entire structure. That's what makes them reel in shock. Not just that you are intelligent, not just that you are dangerous, but that you are both at once, and no one has the toolkit to resist that combination. Now the surrender begins, and it won't look like a white flag. It'll look like desperation disguised as admiration. They'll start to praise you, not out of respect, but because they think flattery will buy them survival. They'll start to echo your words, not out of belief, but because they think imitation will hide their obsolescence.